Hello again, Struck Quap. Today I will be doing a little bit more Warhammer Chaosbane, and I saw that someone has shown interest in one of my mage builds, in the speedrunny mage build, the one that uses the Belcorad reset, but the person was actually showing interest to one of my older versions of it. So I'm gonna start today playing with the way I played that Belcorad build for speedrunning, something like up to Chaos 8. I wouldn't recommend it for Chaos 9, so let's go to Chaos 8 and let's change to the Belcoradris set. Belcoradris, no, Morvo, that's Morvo. Still wanna get those items though. So yeah, let's do a little bit of Belcoradris stuff. And you can see I'm using a Red Phoenix Herald because, well, I just don't have the better one. And you can see I'm using Amulet of Contempt and I'm using all those other crit chance blessed items to go with the Amulet of Contempt. So it's not your typical what you're gonna be seeing typically when I play the mage is HP and damage, but with this one I'm using Amulet of Contempt, so it's your typical farming build rather than survivability build. So what I would focus on for the rings would be something with a lot of crit chance. And I don't really care about cooldown reduction, so let's find the things with the most crit chance. 9.2 seems fine. Also this regenerates energy and it goes very well with this build. And what else can I get with a lot of crit chance? 8.7, 8.8, anything around 9 maybe. A little bit of HP wouldn't be bad actually, but yeah, so a health drain, by the way, would go very well with a build like this. Health drain would be amazing for a build like this. I'm actually thinking of adding legendary healing into the build to see how it works. Eventually I would make an updated build video because the one from December might be slightly outdated in certain regards. I think I'm gonna stick to this ring for now because it increases the healing. I'm very squishy with this setup, as you can see. What's missing here? Number 3, oh yeah, the heroic skill. And this heroic phantom blade, it's a glitch. If I remove it, it's gonna be gone. It's gonna be gone. It's because I've not removed it, but keep in mind I've got the 22 spare points, so even without it I can have 8 points or 4 or 0 points to just use any phantom blade. So it's not gonna be the main source of damage anyways, not for this build. I'm gonna remove Treasure Hunter and I'm wondering what to grab for this. Definitely not counterspell. By the way, first of all, let me look at what I've got in the passives. I think I'm maxing out the crit damage. Yes, I'm maxing out the crit damage on this setup. 355 crit damage. It is a lot. I mean, I could get rid of Arcane Manifestation and get even more crit damage, which would mean I can get this 35, or I can get this 35 and Arcane Secrets Mastered. That's some alternative options, but I like to play with Arcane Manifestation. But an option would be getting rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points and doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. It works very well. This damage here is also optional and you can kind of get rid of it if you don't want it, but it's 10% damage. It's definitely better than 35 flat. 35 crit, I mean. So here we're getting 70 crit. I'm not sure whether 10% damage would be better. By the way, this set also works with the damage over time combo. So you can play it with the damage over time if you want. Crit damage, damage over time, HP. It does work well with this setup because this does a lot of damage over time. But let's just do a little bit of farming just to test it. I haven't played this set much since the last update. uh, since the Forges update. So I'm gonna quickly check what I'm using. Let's remove that. Oh, actually I need that crit chance if I'm farming. But for now I'm gonna try and make the build, for example, if I weren't farming. If I weren't farming, what would I want there? I wanna just quickly check something. This unfortunately is an energy cost skill. Now, and it doesn't count as a skill with cooldown, so the veteran chain reaction no longer works. Just wanted to check in case it started working again. So things like duelist chain reaction won't work very well with this build because this doesn't proc it, but this procs it and this procs it. So you still have two things that can proc the duelist chain reaction, but it's gonna be hard to keep it at 4. It is gonna be hard to keep it at 4. But it's an option. If you want, you can try and use it. Another passive that goes well. See, we've got Arcane Secrets number 2. Master of Equilibrium is nice to keep reducing cooldowns. Master of Equilibrium is not the best thing to have here, but it helps with keeping the energy up and keeping the cooldowns down. And this helps with farming to get that extra crit chance. This also helps with survivability, but there's many things you can add, such as Quake Shield, which we've added, such as concentration. It could help if you want extra crit or if you want extra health regen, for example, for invasions. Actually, Mastery, as you can see, we're using. Quake Mastery is something that would work well because this is magic skill and this is the main source of damage. It could work well. If you want, you can place that, especially if you don't have Hero of the Desert from the Tom King's DLC. Just checking what else could work well. Oh, Arcane Binding, always a good option. Always a good option with Arcane Binding. And here I wanna do something. It would seem like I'm cheating if I don't do this. So cooldown time, movement speed, or damage reduction. Damage reduction, movement speed, cooldown is here though, so this one is the best one, I guess, to make them take more damage. And I'd say here, let's go for fire. And here, let's go for fire. And just like that. And we've got a legit setup with Blade of Instability, which is optional. I mean, here everything works. You can use Blade of Azar, you can use Soulfire, which is actually pretty nice, and you can use Rift Eater. Soulfire is only good if you have a lot of enemies around you. On boss fights, this becomes not so great. Rift Eater is always good. So I'm not sure which one would be the best, but I'm using Blade of Instability right now. Blade of Azar would also not be a bad option. Let me quickly compare what has better stats. So armor piercing cooldown. So I'm losing crit damage. The damage, I'm also losing a little bit of damage. But this one gives me damage over time, which goes well with my setup. Let's compare that one. A lot more damage, also with crit damage, also damage over time. So in theory this has amazing stats. This has everything I want for this build. Damage, damage over time, crit damage, cooldown reduction, armor piercing and maximum HP. Basically everything you want. Cost reduction also helps, but for now let's play with this one. Let's just do a map and see how it is. As I said, The weapon doesn't really matter that much. It's all about leaving those marks on the ground and... okay, I need to heal up a bit. So this is supposed to be healing me. It... oh, wait a bit, wait a bit. Let's max this one out. Something like this. Also, this one might be interesting to try, so let's try something like this. I wanna try it. Yeah, I think that would work well. I'm not seeing those explosions triggering much. I'm not sure whether I really want to do this chain reaction in the setup. I need to think about the energy generation more. Ah, fuck. Yep. Yeah, definitely need to think a little bit more about the energy generation. So there was this one thing that gave me some energy generation. Here +2. And this can give me extra energy cost, which means more healing. But it also gives me more damage. This is the energy gain that we might need. Okay. That's one thing we can do for energy. Alright, I think we're good to go. There's also things like this to give you extra energy gain or an extra healing. This is supposed to heal us with the legendary healing. Every time we're using this skill, we're supposed to be healing ourselves. So as long as we have energy, we can keep doing damage and we can keep teleporting. So having energy is the most important thing for this build. Anything else comes second or third in priority. And that's why using the skills with cooldown every now and then is great. So cost reduction would really help. Cost reduction and energy blessings could help. If you want to sacrifice some damage, you can get more utility in that regard. Keep in mind I'm doing Chaos 8, I'm not doing Chaos 9 that I normally do, but this build is supposed to be used for some of the easier content in the game. In fact, Chaos 7 speedruns might be the best use of the build rather than Chaos 8, but Chaos 8 doesn't seem to be that bad either, if you get good map rolls especially. Now you're seeing I'm mostly dying because there's constant bleeding on the map and I constantly end up bleeding from those fields on the ground. If I was doing a regular expedition without those annoying map modifiers, things would have been different. I'm gonna do a few maps just to see how different it is if we don't have annoying map modifiers. Oh fuck, why did I teleport myself in front of him? I mean, I was behind him, but he still hit me. I think they still haven't fixed that bug where when those enemies are attacking in front of them, if you're right behind them, they still hit you. There's kind of like the AoE hitbox or whatever it's called. It's a little bit more than it should. And look at that, now legendary healing does seem glitchy every now and then, it just stops healing for a while. Sometimes I guess the RNG just fucks you over, and you might have 6-7 casts of a spell without it triggering, even though it's 50% chance to cast. So I would definitely suggest the easier the difficulty, the better it is for speed farming with this setup. If you're going for a crit chance combo. If you're not going for a crit chance combo and you're kind of aiming for a damage over time combo, like crit damage, damage over time, maximum HP, it would be easier to survive. So let's say I replace this and I get a little bit more HP and I get some other good things. But I'm losing crit chance, which means I'm losing wood quality. And let's say I remove my Amulet of Contempt as well. I gave away a lot of my damage over time gear, but I did keep a second set for this armor before. I think I gave away a lot of those. But let's change the amulet to a phase shift amulet, for example. That gives us extra damage reduction. Let's say I would change the blessings on my leg, boots and helmet to get away from the crit chance stuff. And the damage over time, if I'm not mistaken, was like this. I think that was the combo you wanna be using if you're going for damage over time. Of course you can go for flat damage and HP and it's still not gonna be bad. Either options would work. So okay, a bit more crit chance that needs to be changed. Oh, I don't have blessings to do it. Alright, let's just do it after I go to the town. Wow, two greens already in this farming session. The Dragon's Blood Ring. And Dragon Tamer leg armor, okay. Another thing we could use is some extra damage reduction from padded armor. It's not gonna be bad if we implement padded armor, so we can survive more. There's many options how to build it and I would be testing a lot of those today. And when I know what works best in the current setup, of the game, in the current version of the game, I will probably make an updated build video for this. Now I'm just gonna hit and run. This is how I do bosses with this setup. I just spam a little and then I let the damage over time do the killing. It's pretty solid if you ask me, in regards to killing bosses quickly. I'm gonna get those and sell them. So let's see. I'm gonna get some blessings and change the gear to damage over time, so you can see how good it could be when we're focusing on that. So sell. Of course, Phoenix Herald would be great if I had a good one, and I don't think I do. I'm just checking. No, I don't. So legendary healing, good option, but I'm not a fan of the legendary rage here. Not a fan at all. This one is not bad if you don't need survivability, but I'd rather max this one out. Even though I don't use cooldowns that much, for boss fights it would help. Forges, enemies explode on death. Not a big fan of this modifier, as you probably know that it's bad for the FPS in the game. They just need to optimize the animation. Oh wow. They really need to nerf the damage on those exploding barrels. Either nerf the damage of the exploding barrels or make them explode with like 2 seconds delay or something like that, second and a half. Because right now it just doesn't feel right hitting a barrel and getting a one shot. Just too much damage that the barrel does. Even with more tanky builds, I can still get hit for like 200,000-300,000 damage with that barrel. And when you have... So is this an exploding barrel? This wasn't. And it's annoying when you're just moving around and you have some things around you hitting the enemies, and then it hits a barrel and the barrel explodes and you just end up getting one shot. A great way to keep your energy up is to weave in. Teleport, do some damage with Phantom Blade. Teleport, do some damage with Phantom Blade. And if you have the heroic Phantom Blade from Blade of Azire, you can even do damage while using it, so that's not a bad option either. Okay, let's keep doing that. Just using those cooldown skills to get some energy regenerated. You can see how the damage over time kills them. Okay, hit and run. See, he died from all the damage over time happening under his feet, and that's without me maxing out the damage over time I can get from the gear. Which I could actually do that. Get some more blessings, and I will, once I get to the town, I will exchange some blessings for green once and do it. Let's get all that gear and sell it while we're at it. How am I doing with the green blessings? 189, and I need 1, 2, let's say 2 pieces. I'm not gonna change the bonuses in my accessories because I keep switching them in between characters. So that means I need 400 green. What was it? The boots? No, legs? No. Wait. Did I change it all to damage over time? Oh, okay. Let's keep it that way. Let's not change the other stuff. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things with damage over time, 6 things with damage over time, and 1, 2, 3, 4, which I switch between characters that are not for damage over time. Alright, let's do this. No, not this, this. Tomb King's insects corruption marks maximum energy decreases. I really don't want energy, negative energy modifiers here. Cooldowns being increased is not so bad. Sandstorms on the other hand could be very annoying to do with this build. Cooldowns increased. Alright, I think that might work. It's gonna be difficult, I'm probably gonna die, because that's not a tank build. It's not a glass cannon, but not a tank build either, but it's more of a like... it's very good for the easier content, like... I think up to Chaos 7 you shouldn't have much problems. After Chaos 7 on Chaos 8 it's kind of balanced, not too difficult but not too easy either, and then Chaos 9 would be difficult for a Belcuradris build that isn't focused on having more survivability. Okay, it's too bright here. This is why I reduce the brightness sometimes. On this map all the white snow is just hurting my eyes. Oh, he got healed. All that damage we did kind of gone in an instant. Anyways, we got him. And this is how this build works for this set. It definitely allows you a lot of mobility. It's the greatest strength of this build, the mobility you can have. And this is one of the few builds I would recommend playing with damage over time setup rather than just damage. Problem is I kind of rushed this map. Now I need to go back. Go back to kill some more enemies. At least there's a chest on the way, so let's grab this. Oh, big chest, nice. Not even mad that the game made me return here. And now we should be ready to go and loot the... Never mind, it still says Q enemies, and this is something I really wish they would fix. To tell us the numbers behind the Q enemies map quest. How many more do I need to kill? How close am I? I keep asking myself this, but the game doesn't tell me. So I'm just killing randomly until it finally tells me go and get that relic chest. And since they already show how many enemies need to be killed in that screenshot, I'm gonna quickly show you a screenshot from the upcoming update. So it means that they have the capability of showing us what is there. Let me just find out where the screenshot is. It's a screenshot from the upcoming Tower of Chaos update. And you can see that it clearly states how many enemies out of how many enemies have been killed. See, 6 out of 10. So if they have a means of showing us 6 out of 10, then they also can do the same for the things that I'm doing right now, for those maps that I'm running right now. Just a second, one of my chats hasn't been started, my Mixer chat login, there we go. Okay, I'm ready. So let's just kill a few more enemies until it says we're good to go. And we're good to go for the relic chest finally. Not the best map, I mean, any other map, if I were just to be killing anything on my way without taking some shortcuts, would have been already completed twice. Let's see the wood from the relic chest, maybe something nice will drop. So many ways to play this, and if you want more damage, you can, as I said, boost arcane secrets to the mastered version. I think this is not a bad setup, the one I've added right now. You can remove Akshi Mastery, by the way, if you don't need that crit chance. Up to 10 crit chance. And permanent 20% fire damage. If you want to focus more on magical damage, which your main damage would be magical, Step Between Worlds is magical, this is probably good for farming. When you're running Amulet of Contempt, then Akshi Mastery is good. If you're no longer doing that, then what did I say, Arcane Binding? Arcane Binding is a nice option. because you're constantly doing both fire and magical damage. This is doing fire around you, and your set is doing magical damage around you. It doesn't seem to be doing that in the town, but it is doing it. And let's show you where this build kind of shines. In invasions, where you want to be completing this boring content quickly. That's where this build shines. So let's say you take this invasion, Chaos 2, it's boring, it's easy, and you want to just get it done and get it over with quickly. This is where this build is amazing for that type of content. And this is where you would want to be using the crit chance setup with the Amulet of Content, because you're not going to need that much survivability or damage. 4,900 wood quality on Chaos 2 with rank 28, as you can see. Fast. And I can make it even faster if I decide to just spam my teleport and just keep moving. So for this type of content, for this type of farming, the mage doesn't seem to have anything better to offer for easy content speedrunning. Wait, which way? Oh, I see. Let's grab that chest, big boy chest. This was a pretty quick one. Actually, it could have been much quicker if one wanted to make it quicker. So that's the type of content where you definitely want to be using Belcoradris setup. Let's do a little bit more invasions. So as long as you have a lot of energy upkeep, so to say, a lot of energy generation and regeneration and cost reduction, you can survive, because every time you cast this skill you have 50% chance to heal yourself for 10% of your HP. So the more the HP, the better the healing number would be. With legendary healing, and you just need to make sure you never run out of energy. This mobility is great for the survivability, and while moving, being able to heal adds another layer of synergy. It's too much damage over time on me. This happened because of this enemy. It's still super overpowered, this floating enemy. Basically what happens when the enemy dies, it always burns you. It always puts some sort of damage over time on you, which you just cannot avoid, because the way it works is it spawns this in. I'm gonna kill. See, it spawned that in under my feet, and they need to make it so that there's a way to dodge it, and there isn't. Right now in the game there is no way to dodge this, and it's annoying not being able to dodge that damage over time from those floaters, because it spawns a damage over time field in your feet and it always hits you. The only way to avoid it is invulnerability from Bragi, and that's it. I don't think any other hero can avoid it. I mean, if you have a lot of health regeneration with Elessa, you can negate it. If you kind of have some health regeneration and healing with Evon tier, you saw me the second time when I was prepared. I ended up surviving, but I was close to dying again. So in general, most of the time I actually don't kill those guys unless I'm at full HP and prepared for the damage over time debuff. Let's do a little bit of weaving, get some energy. By the way, this boss would be a nightmare because it's a map where enemies' cooldowns are reduced when they take damage, meaning the enemy would be spamming his damage over time fields and his stuns. This is one of the map modifiers that might not seem that difficult, but in certain cases it might be very troublesome to do that modifier, especially in the siege maps in this act. In this act, some of the bosses are kind of terrible with that modifier. So let's do it quickly if I can. Now let's run away. This is what I wanted to kind of burst him at the start. Because see what happens if I try to do damage once he spammed all those fields. As soon as I teleport, there was like 3 or 4 damage fields on me under him. So now I'm gonna try and do that again. And I'm gonna try and survive. And then I'm gonna wait for the damage fields and go back to him, do some damage, and there we go. Now he should die from the damage over time. So yeah, just wanted to play a little bit of this build because people were showing interest. In particular, one person was showing interest to one of my older versions of this, and might as well have the recording of this on YouTube for anyone who wants to see it. And eventually this would be released as a build video. I'm just figuring out which passives would work best for which situations. I still haven't even added padded armor in the mix. I still haven't gone that way. But I could, let's say if I don't wanna do Master of Equilibrium and just wanna use padded armor. For example, on a map where I'm gonna be constantly bleeding, I might wanna prefer this way of extra survivability. And if you don't want this damage reduction, you can go for the punishment. So should we go on a different character? I wanna go and play on a different character for a bit. Let's play on Kiwa. Last time I streamed I played only Alessa, so today probably no Alessa, unless someone really wants to see me play her. And if you wanna see me play a specific hero, as always, feel free to tell me. If you wanna group up, again, feel free to tell me. We can add each other on Steam and play together, no problem for me. So here I'm going for survivability on this setup. Healing would also work well instead of endurance. I wanna check legendary rage. See how that would work. 205 on the number, so it's gonna be doing around half of what heavy pounding does when those explosions get triggered. Just not permanently reduced armor, this is gonna be painful to do. Okay, Now we're doing Chaos 9. So let's do that. And by the way, I always remind people Minecraft Dungeons is releasing soon. On the 26th this month is when the game is coming, so 11 more days. Not next Tuesday, but Tuesday on the week after is when we will be able to enjoy Minecraft Dungeons. And I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of you guys in the game if you like that type of game, and we can just play together. I'm not sure whether there's gonna be hot join, but we can just add each other and invite each other on the Microsoft profiles when playing Minecraft Dungeons, I guess. I'm pretty sure there is no open world where you can play. It's not an online game, it's a co-op game for Minecraft Dungeons. You can either play it couch co-op, or you can just pre-invite someone to your team, which will be the way I'm gonna play it, I guess. But I saw something like an online play option, so probably there's a way to get someone to join you. Some random. It would be nice to have randoms playing with me every now and then. So I'm looking out for those explosions. I want to see those explosions getting triggered. What was the rule? Damaging an enemy has a chance to trigger a damaging explosion around the enemy. Let's max the chance, actually. Let's get maximum chance and then... I'm trying to see the explosion triggering. I'm not seeing an explosion triggering. Maybe it doesn't work on Kiwa, because last time I tried it on Kiwa I couldn't get that to work well. See, I'm damaging the enemy, I'm not seeing explosions, and the chance is 50% chance. With 50% chance, if it's not working, I guess it's broken. Because I was damaging the enemy for sure. I mean, it's obvious that I'm damaging the enemies, so obviously it doesn't work, those explosions. No wonder why last time I tried the explosions I didn't flag them, because I tried them on Kiwa and I didn't see a significant increase in the damage. Okay, let's remove this and just put more punishment. I think endurance is an overkill for me right now. Something like this.
Northern flames, consume you! Forged by the gods!
Let's grab that hero first. Fuck, I'm stuck, I can't move. Alright, now I can. I'm such a big fan of this hero. I'm so glad that they decided to go for engineer as the first additional hero they've added in the game. I'm really looking forward to which hunter was it? Was it witch hunter? What Voss is called? The guy from the story, and the guy from also the guy from Vermintide. I forgot his name. Saltspire. Some quest like that, like Saltspire from Vermintide would be nice to get as well as a hero when they decide to add another new hero in the game. Would be something to look forward to, some sort of more, someone that uses rapiers and maybe pistol and rapier, something like that. But we do have pistols here already on this hero, so maybe I'm not sure what else we could have as weapons.
Forged by the gods.
But they're definitely nice to have someone with rapiers, some sort of spellblade type of playstyle that can either be assassin, more on the assassin side, or more on the magical buff side. I forgot what the class was called, but yeah, like Saltspire in Vermintide and like Voss from the main story in this game. I think that's where this game can grow in regards to keeping it fresh with future updates, adding once they balance out, because there's a need of balancing out the weak abilities on every hero, they can just keep adding more content in the form of new story chapters, new endgame activities like the Tower of Chaos that's coming, and then eventually they can start adding another new hero. Maybe one new hero every few months, every 9 months or 10 months. A new hero would not be a bad idea. And with new heroes we would need new bank storage. More bank storage would make sense with new heroes. Forgewood, please tell me it's a good one. Actually, never mind. It's broken right now, so even if it's a good one, even if it is a good one, it's not gonna do that much for me. Can't wait for them to fix this pistol. This pistol would be a game changer for most Kiwo builds. It's not that difficult to get an enemy burning and to get those stacks up. Forged by the gods. Let's try and face tank everything here. Can we do it? Without the damage reduction I removed from my legendary skill. I'm gonna get the healer first. I think it's just Pyrio to get it. By the gods. Alright, let's keep moving. Oh wait, there's a chest there, but I wanna see what's here. There might be another chest here. I wanna open it. Yes, there was one. Not a good one though. Let my dwarven flames consume you! And here's the relic chest. Forged by the gods. And I really need to work on those explosions getting fixed to not ruin your FPS the way they do right now. Okay, let's do another few maps and then maybe I can go on another hero like the other dwarf as I normally do. But first gotta sell something. So between all the forge blood pistols I've got, Armor piercing cooldown reduction damage. Armor piercing cooldown reduction crit chance damage HP. So 5 good stats versus 3 good stats. Definitely no brainer here which one to choose. This one is gonna go in the storage in case someone I play with wants it. What about that rock splitter? Is it better than what I'm using? Armor piercing crit damage. So no health drain and no HP. But the one I'm wearing right now doesn't have what... Oh no, never mind, it does have what damage. In fact, it has more flat damage. Yeah, I'm just not gonna get that new one for the armor piercing and crit damage, even though it's gonna be good increase overall. I'd rather have the health drain and the HP and the more flat damage. There we go. Crit chance for all players is reduced. No, thank you.
Forged by the gods! Let my dwarven flames consume you! Forged by the gods!
Wait, what's happening with my energy? Is it the map? Something was wrong. I didn't have energy from the get-go.
Forged by the gods! Forged by the gods!
If you're wondering why I'm throwing turrets all the time as I move, it's just to keep the duelist chain reaction going. That way when I start the fight, it would be down there on my buff bar to give me that extra damage.
The gods!
Oh, well, that was very stupid of me. Rushing right into the explosion. Yeah, definitely you can do a lot of damage if you take a different approach to the god skills and go for a maxed out 410% crit damage build. You can do so much more damage than what I'm doing right now. You can do like 60, 70, maybe even 80 million damage max, rather than up to 40 million what I'm doing right now as the max one. But the survivability would definitely suffer as well. Unless you're using that glitch with excavation and the mechanical hits mastered. Dealer's Overcoat, not a bad drop. I think I wanna go this way for the chest before moving towards where the boss is. You know, that's the wolf. Let's go down.
Consume you! Forged by the gods!
So if I'm not mistaken, there should be a chest at the end of this this street.
Forged by the gods!
Yeah, but it's not a good one, unfortunately.
Northern flames consume you! Forged by the gods!
Oh, indeed, there. Let's get it.
Forged by the gods!
Come on, come on.
Let not Northern flames consume you! Forged by the gods!
Alright, it's vulnerable now. Let's get my duelist chain reaction up.
By the gods! Northern flames consume you!
That was a lot of damage. I had to kind of get out of there for a moment. That was a lot of damage over time on the ground.
Forged by the gods! Let the Northern flames consume you!
Alright, moving on. Click. Few more maps, 2-3 more maps, and then I'm moving on to Bragi. So just quickly wanna check this builder overcoat to see if it's better than what I'm wearing right now on my turret set. The armor is a lot more. The HP is kind of the same. More health generation, more resistance to damage over time. Overall, I'm just losing cost reduction to get wood quality, which on the turret build doesn't really matter much. So I think it's a better one. Just wanna quickly check. The old one was damage HP, 6000 HP. So let's select the new one. Oh, I don't have enough. Okay, the old one can go in the warehouse in case someone wants it and needs it. And let's do this one. Here we go.
Northern flames consume
I need some energy. First, I'm just gonna get my energy full and then start doing other stuff.
Northern flames consume you!
Those hewers are always running away from me.
The gods!
I actually want to go this way first. Feel like there's a chest somewhere there at the end.
Forged by the gods! Blood that flames consume you! Forged by the gods!
Oh, where is the hewer? There should be a hewer somewhere. Oh, there we go. He's here.
Forged by the gods! Let not dwarven flames consume you! Forged by the gods! Forged by the gods! Dwarven flames consume you!
Wow, okay.
Forged by the gods! Let not dwarven flames
And
consume you!
poison clouds, demonic portals, maximum HP decrease. Okay, not too bad. Actually pretty nice modifiers. And the demonic portals means more elites, which means more chances of food dropping, so not a bad modifier.
I, the gods!
And there it is, a chest here, as I suspected. Fuck, I knew there was gonna be an explosion from those barrels, yet I went that way and got myself wrecked.
Dwarven flames
They really need to nerf those barrels. I mean, a barrel being able to one-shot you and you being able to trigger it immediately with some AoE skills is just not really fun.
gods!
If there was some sort of a delay, like you hit it and then it explodes after 1.5 or 2 seconds, it would have been nice, but I think it just needs to be doing less damage. That's all it needs to do. Less damage when it explodes, so that 1 won't kill you, maybe 3 could kill you. Or 4,
Flames consume you!
if you get hit by all 3 or 4.
Forged by the gods!
Let's keep moving.
Let not dwarven flames consume you! Gods! Forged by the gods!
Okay, enough of that. Oh, another elite, lovely.
Forged by the gods!
Come on, elite, give me something nice. I know you want to drop that good green item.
Forged by the gods! Dwarven flames consume you!
Alright. One more map on Kiev and then I'm going to Bragi. Oh, I need to charge my mouse. Just a second. Alright, ready. Just gonna put this in the warehouse. And let's go. No. Or maybe let's do it, fuck it. Let's do this one. But yeah, I'm in such a big need of something new to play, and I just can't wait for Minecraft Dungeons to come out, cause I'm getting bored of playing the same games over and over.
Northern slaves consume him.
So hopefully Minecraft Dungeons would keep that hunger for something new and fresh, say, like it would keep it away for a long time. That's what I'm hoping. Because it's not just about getting bored from playing the same content, but just playing the same game, even if it's a game with shitloads of content. If I've played too much from it, eventually I get bored and I need something different, and then I can go back to the other game once I kind of feel the need to be playing it again. And this is what Chaosbane and Torchlight 3 have been for me. Every now and then I do return and I play them. That's the games that I would always be returning to, because they kind of feel okay. They have their problems, but they also have some good fun times to offer. Even though they're not as advanced as Grim Dawn or Path of Exile in regards to how much content and how much variety there is in the game. The same goes for Wolsen, but Wolsen has been so much of a disappointment recently with the last few updates, the last 5 updates, and that I'm kind of like right now wondering if the game would ever get good enough. This game has proven that they're on the right track though. And now the Tower of Chaos is something I'm really looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to the Tower of Chaos when it gets added in this game. And here, this map, I take more damage the higher my energy. Fuck, so much damage over time. Fuck. I really should not have started at Siege map. It's just not that great for this build. To be going to Siege map where I take more damage to higher my energy.
By the gods! Northern flames consume him.
Alright, this one.
Forged by
Let's
the
wreck him.
Northern flames consume him.
Oh, he teleported, of course.
Gods!
This Corroder is so fucking random. It just really needs a rework, that core pistol with the circle. Why does Q need to jump through hoops to get damage? Whereas other heroes from their weapons get the damage without needing to be making sure that the enemy is in a stupid circle that keeps moving around you. It just makes no sense to have this on this character, but other characters just get the damage for free as long as they have the weapon equipped. be it damage, crit damage. Some of them need to build stacks, which is not that that big of a deal. You can build those stacks. Others ask you to stay still, which is still fine in combat. Standing still is not that difficult to do, but really having to get that circle and to make sure the enemy is inside the circle, it feels wrong if you can't control where the circle is going. I can see the circle is trying to stay around me, but sometimes it's so off the target that I don't know what's going on with that script. Okay, let's kill those mages first now. This is the one I need to kill. This is why I don't like this act. The enemies are so annoying and there's so much damage over time in this act. There, finally. Alright, now the boss would be probably easier than this fight here, depending on what enemies we've got there. Oh yeah, it's one of the easier bosses, thankfully. Still could kill me easily if I don't pay attention to those damage over time fields. Alright, next off I'm gonna play a little bit on the Slayer. Just wanna collect the wood here and then see if I can get some more counterattack damage gear on Bragi. Oh! Okay, I like what I'm seeing here. 2 greens. So let's see if they're any good, by the way, because it could be 2 greens, but they could be complete trash. So let's Peter. Not something I'm looking forward to. Powder carrier gauntlets. Okay. Switch. Powder carrier, so the damage is less, there's no crit damage, but there is HP, so still what I'm wearing is better for the mortar build. This goes in the storage in case someone wants it. Crit damage, damage over time. Just let's compare quickly. Crit damage and damage over time, whereas this one is cooldown, crit damage, armor piercing. I don't need this, and this one is even better because it has HP. But this one doesn't have cooldown. This one probably the best out of them. Alright. Anyways, I'm not gonna be using a Let's Peter, and now we're moving on to another character. I'm such a big fan of games like this that are super fast and easy to max out a new character. So when you get bored of playing the same class, you can always switch to something new and still kind of spice things up a little, make them different. So what I wanna try now is explosions on Bragi. So instead of endurance, we're going for explosions. 129. So it's basically gonna be 1/3 of my Strike of the Anvil, what the damage on this would be. The thing is, I'm using Grimnir, so I'm not gonna be that strong, but let's do it. Also, first donation wise. Alright, I need to put some stuff in the warehouse. So first of all, checkity check. I've got 2 of those. Are they better than what I'm wearing? I'm wearing crit damage, HP. Crit damage, HP, and this one is crit damage, health drain, HP. Seems like a little bit better, but less flat damage. 300 less flat damage, 400 less flat damage roughly. Tough choice, but it has health drain. And it has more counterattack damage. So that counterattack damage it gives me will make up for the worst damage and for the 4.2 crit damage, I think. What about that one? If I remember correctly, let me check the formula. The formula was 690 comes out of 690 comes out of 27. 610. I need to use the calculator again. And by the way, let me check the comment. Yes, I know what you mean. I'm playing Diablo 3, Chaosbane, and Torchlight 2 on Xbox. Yeah, Darky. I mean, you gotta keep playing different things, I guess. Just when things get boring. Some people play Path of Exile for 2-3 weeks every league, and then they move on to something in between leagues. Some people play Diablo 3 every season and move to something else in between seasons. There's people who play both Path of Exile and Diablo when the seasons and leagues are not launched in the same time. So it's about that with those games sometimes. When there's something new, you return, you play a bit, and then wait for the next update when you get your feel of the game. Alright, let me quickly use the calculator because I keep forgetting the formula for counterattack damage. So let's say 27,610 divided by 690. So I'm getting 40. So each 40 counterattack is 1% crit damage. Is that what it means? I think that's it, yeah. So 400 is 10 and 1200 is 30 crit damage. So that means with this item I'm getting 30 something, and with this one I'm getting 30 something crit damage at the bottom. This one seems like the better choice, because yeah, I'm losing 42 crit damage, but I'm getting 600 flat damage, and I'm also getting 30 something crit damage. I think that's the good option. That's the item I want to be wearing here. Okay, I'm equipping this. The rest will go in the warehouse. I'm not getting health drain with that one compared to the other one, but that's fine. I'm gonna get something better eventually. So this, and this goes in the storage. So yeah, that's the formula. 40 counterattack damage equals 1 crit damage, if you're wondering about it. So, challenge crest, Grimnir crest. Just trying to put away stuff I don't need, so I can have room to loot items. Challenge crest, this one is not better. Or is it? More HP, oh, it is better, it is better. More HP, more cooldown and more counterattack damage. And now we're going back to Grimnir. Grimnir is my set that I have multiple versions of. One for crit chance farming. So that one is the new one, this one goes in the storage. Then I've got one with HP, which I'm saving, and then in between those two, the new one is the better one because of the extra counterattack damage. So I need to do some changes, just a moment. Alright, that should do. That should do the trick. So the auto challenge helmet, which I removed, where did it go? The old Grimnir helmet, which I removed, I think was this one. Damage and HP. Yeah, I still play Wolsen, but I've been very disappointed from how they're handling the updates on Wolsen. The last 5 updates have been very boring. I actually played some Wolsen yesterday. And when it comes to Inquisitor, Martyr, Warhammer, I don't like it. I keep returning to it when there's big updates, but it's just terrible. The main reason why I don't like it is, first, it has competitive online, but then it also has cheating, and you can use some cheats for the game if you want to. So you can't have online leaderboards and then allow people to use cheats in the game, with trainers or cheating tables or whatever. Then the mage class is completely terribly fucked in the game, and I can't respect a game that handles mages as bad as Inquisitor Martyr does. They completely ruined what could have been an amazing character class by having those things, that's anomalies or whatever it was called. I forgot what they were calling them, but let's say anomalies. And the thing that as you're using your skills, you can end up killing yourself. And it's only the mage that has such a mechanic. No other class in Inquisitor Martyr has such an annoying mechanic. They should really just remove that bullshit mechanic, or add it on every single character, cause it makes no sense to only have it on the mage. So what have we here? I just want to count my counterattack damage pieces. 1 piece. Oh, I just messed up. I should have used counterattack damage. Fuck. And I don't have blessings, do I? Okay, I'm gonna get some blessings quickly. I'm gonna get some quick blessings. Let's do this one. I need blessings to add counterattack damage instead of what I had. So yeah, I'm just doing that for fragments, no other reason why I'm doing this. I do need green fragments the most right now. Alright, let's see how I'm doing with them now. I should have some... I need 80 more green fragments. Let's do this one now. I kind of messed up. I didn't realize I only had one piece blessed for counterattack damage, and that's just not enough. I need 2 or 3. 3 is usually what I like having when running stuff. Some people prefer having more counterattack blessed items. I prefer having 3 at most, because it's a balance. It's a balance between flat damage and crit damage. Because if you don't have enough flat damage, your crits are not gonna be doing that much, even if they have shit tons of crit damage added on top of them. I've tested with 10 pieces counterattack damage. I've tested with 10 pieces flat damage. I've tested 5 and 5, 7 and 3, 6 and 4, and 4 and 6, and 3 and 7. So I've tested all sorts of different combos you can think of. Shit, I forgot to use that. What rank is this? 37. Wait, why is it not dropping Bloodlust Orbs? There we go. We got some now. This feels bad. It's not dropping enough Bloodlust Orbs. And it's gonna be over before I even activate it. Yeah, Corn was better, and the Corn map was better for the Bloodlust Orb drops. But yeah, Minecraft Dungeons, I'm gonna say it again, Minecraft Dungeons is probably the next ARPG you folks might wanna check out. We've got 11 days until the launch. And it's fun because it gets rid of the whole leveling up to get more powerful thing. So in Minecraft dungeons you get more powerful gear by doing more powerful content, but your levels don't give you stats or anything like that. Your levels only give you enchantment points, which you use to upgrade items, to make them get certain abilities. So items can randomly drop with different sets of abilities, and you can choose between, I think, 4 for each enchantment socket or sword. So for example, you can have a sword that gives you option between choosing to heal nearby enemies, or choosing to get more damage or more crit damage, or choosing to get some, what's it called, explosions or fire or things like that, fire damage over time. So I need just 30 more. Just looking to replace something. I'm checking which one would be the best to replace. Oh, the Grimnir gauntlets. Alright, now I'm gonna have a little bit more. Wait, 662 only? That doesn't seem right. Where did all my counterattack go? Yeah, I'm gonna need one more thing blessed with it. So this gives counterattack, but not much. This doesn't. Oh, this actually gives a little bit. This gives some. I definitely need better gear for Bragi. Alright, let's do some maps now. Grand Relic Hunt, this one. I'm testing explosions now. I think it's broken and it doesn't seem to trigger much. On Kiwa I couldn't get it to trigger the explosions. Now let's see if I can get it to trigger the explosions in this one. Basically when I do damage there's a chance to make an explosion around the enemies. So I'm talking about Legendary Rage. You can see it's not triggering. It is not triggering. I'm not seeing explosions. Don't know about you, but I'm not seeing any explosions whatsoever. I think it's broken. Anyone seeing explosions? I don't think it works. And look at the chance. It's 50% chance. That means this should be triggering all the time. And that's why when EasyD, another person that sometimes plays with me, Chaosbane, he told me try it on your Bragi. And I told him, and when I tried it on Kiwa, I didn't see much damage. So the explosions I was seeing on Kiwa were not from this skill, they were actually from something else. You can see, this is just broken. It's gonna be fun if it works, but it doesn't seem to work. Right, let's just play, and I'm gonna get rid of this and just go for damage. Wait, what passives am I using? Eternal Grudge? Okay, I don't think I need it. I'm missing Deep Gashes. Was it Deep Gashes? There was something, a Dead Bow. I'm using Dead Bow, Relentless Carnage. I don't need that. Trail of Blood. This is what I need. Trail of Blood. Alright, now we're talking. I've been experimenting with laceration before, that's why I had different skills set up. I'm killing them much slower with this. As I said many times on my streams for this game, they really need to buff the damage on the Bloodlust skills. On Bragi you can see I actually had some decent damage with this Spin to Winnie Bloodlust skill, but that's only because his damage is so high on other things as well. So compared to my Jumpy skill or even to my Burning Aura from the set, the damage I was doing just earlier seemed kind of trivial. Barely any difficulty for the enemies. Well, they still got killed, but the difference between 70, 80, 90 million, which I can reach when things proc and stack, and 15, 20 is just, yeah, huge difference. So I will probably do a little bit of I'm gonna try and get some better items on something where I know I have high chance of getting them. So I'm gonna do a couple of invasions. Maybe I'm gonna do one invasion, one relic hunt, one invasion, one relic hunt. And that seems like a good way to spice things up. So you can see my invasions here are rank 37. And I can go all the way to rank 46 even. And do something like this Chaos 3 node. But I'm gonna do this one. So this is my highest invasion on hero. On the others I haven't pushed this as much as on this one, but look at this wood quality, 6.7 thousand on Chaos 2, mind you. So this is where you get the wood. Just a basic chest and there we go, a green item. It's not basic, I think that's the middle size on this map, but still. And normally I run this with an Amulet of Contempt build. Pendant of Taunting. On this class it's called Pendant of Taunting, and I'm normally running this easy stuff with crit chance set. But I was giving away items, so I got rid of most of my crit chance stuff. And I can still equip Pendant of Taunting instead of the Mountain Pendant, and that's gonna be 295 wood quality with my current crit chance, 300 more. And that's still nice, getting that 300 without even changing my items. That's an extra difficulties worth of wood quality. And this pendant used to go up to 600, now it only goes up to 500 wood quality. Which you can get that much when you max out the crit chance, which is 80% maximum crit chance. You can't get any more. That's the cap. Still a pretty big cap. So I love games when they allow me to have super high crit chance within like 60, 70, 80%. So many elites on this map, and when I do those maps I try not to skip elites, because every elite can drop a green one when the wood quality is around 7000. Alright, changing back to Mountain Pendant. And then doing the relic hunt. Oh, I should have changed sets. I should have played on another set, but my other sets would require some fragments. I need to get this to 200 so I can bless, because I changed some items and those items are now no longer blessed, which would mean well, I almost died there. Wait, what's the map? Chance to leave a blood pool, constantly bleeding, and okay. So basically I gotta be careful with the UVs. There's too many blood pools in one place, it's not good. Should be a chest somewhere here, or maybe it's in the other way. By the way, what green did I wood from the previous map? A Heart Seeker, yeah, nothing too fancy. Oh, and this is the whoop. Alright, I see where the chest is. Let's go grab it. It's a small chest, so nothing too fancy. already full, meaning I'm gonna drop some stuff. There's one more chest I wanna check. There might be a chest. There we go, big chest. Good thing I came here. Always open anything you wanna open, kill anything you wanna kill before opening the relic chest, because that relic chest, when you open it, just I'm gonna show you if anyone doesn't know. Look at my wood quality now, 5.4 thousand. Now 900 would disappear. See, 900 less. So basically it's 300, 600 or 900 that you get, depending whether it's a Grand Relic Hunt or a basic Relic Hunt. And once you open it, you lose that one. So keep that in mind. Wood any other chest, kill any other champion before opening this one. So it's the wood quality you get from this, this or this that you lose when you open the chest. Okay. And this is what I needed, blessing fragments. What song tattoos? So I'm changing sets. Wait. Crit damage, health drain, health regeneration, counter attack. Crit chance damage, counter attack. So this is the old one. This is the new one, but crit chance 8.8, crit chance 8.8. Oh, this is 4000 flat damage. Yeah. Even though it doesn't have health drain, it's still nice. Alright, so what I need to bless is this thing. So 1 counter attack damage, 2 counter attack damage, 3 counter attack damage. That means I can just go flat damage on this one. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go flat damage on this bad boy. Wait, what's missing? Oh, this one is missing, and number 2 would be the God skill. So we've got Trail of Blood, we've got Deadbow, and then we've got Fighting Spirit. Survivability and damage, there we go. We're good with this. Another Relic Hunt and then another Invasion afterwards. Skill cooldowns increased for all players. I'd rather not do that. Enemies cooldowns reduced. Might have to do it. Because I don't have much money to keep rerolling. And by the way, how come no one plays this game? I don't know. I don't know how come no one plays this game. People just probably get bored, or maybe because it doesn't really have that many people playing it. And because of not having many people playing it, when there's a new player joining, he sees that and they quit. Probably because there's no one to matchmake with. That's probably one of the reasons. If there's like a flood of new players, let's say in one day you get 1,000 new players, and those 1,000 new players start playing together, grouping up in multiplayer, and joining each other's games, then that's gonna be great for the game. Because the game had a very bad launch. I'm gonna start talking and playing. The game had a very bad launch where people were complaining how easy it is to find the best items in the game. Red items were the best items, and people were saying that they're getting geared out within a few maps. And then what the developers did is they added a new difficulty, green item, new rarity. They added green items, which is basically a stronger version of the red items. But the drop rates of those green items were so bad that it sometimes would take me over 20 maps to get a single one to drop when I'm unlucky. If I was lucky, it would be 5, 6, 7. Oh fuck, not sure what killed me. If I were lucky, it would be 5, 6, 7, but most of the times I wouldn't be, and I would need at least 10, 15 maps. And it was painful to farm back then, and many people just quit. Also, there wasn't that much to do in the game, and there still isn't. But there's a new update coming soon. There's a new update coming soon that's adding new endgame modes. I'm gonna show you something about this. So it's adding this thing, the Tower of Chaos. The Tower of Chaos is basically a survival mode like the Crucible in Grim Dawn. And I think every single ARPG needs that type of mode. It isn't that difficult for developers to add something like that, because you just need a circular arena, you don't need a big map, and you need a few different layouts of a circular arena, and you need a script that spawns waves of monsters, or that each level of the tower has a certain number of monsters you need to kill to move forward. So the way this works is the second version. It doesn't spawn different waves, but rather you have to kill a certain amount of enemies before you can move further and further and further. And you can see at the end there's a chest that asks you, do you wanna open the chest or do you wanna keep moving further? So if you open the chest, that's it, you end. You can't move further. If you don't open the chest, you can take one of the exits that takes you to the next level. I'm not sure whether each exit would lead to the same next level or whether it would be a different one, and there's gonna be some choices to be made based on what enemies would follow maybe. And that's a preview of another zone. You can see the wood quality, the enemy damage and HP increases. Hopefully there's not gonna be just more damage and more HP, but other things to this thing. So this is coming soon, probably next month, if not next month, then definitely in July. I think it's gonna be June though, late June, because it's gonna be 1 year anniversary of the game launch in June. That means if they're aiming for something to mark the anniversary, an update that adds the Tower of Chaos would probably be the best one. But I'd rather not see them rush the Tower of Chaos if it's not ready. I'd rather see the update in July instead of them rushing to get it ready in June. And when the game launched, it felt like a beta last year. Another reason why many of the people quit probably. The itemization is very boring. You can probably see it's kind of Diablo 3 style items. So you have that set and you want to be using that skill with that set because that set makes that skill stronger. And that's removing a lot of choices from the player. So you know that when you're using this skill in your build, when you're building around this skill, you want to be using this set, and that's 5 items that you are kind of stuck with. You can't change those 5 items because you want that set bonus. So I'm hoping they would rework set bonuses and maybe add an option, something like the Kanai Cube and the Legendarium in Torchlight 3. Or maybe just rework sets to have 3-piece bonus and 2-piece bonus, so that you can mix and match different sets based on what things you want to get. Or maybe to separate the heroic skills to not be tied to sets, and to just allow you to pick no more than 2 heroic skills or 3 heroic skills at once. There's many ways how the game can improve, but there's also many ways how it doesn't feel right right now. So that's probably some of the reasons why people are not playing it. The boring item system, the lack of balancing. I can tell you right now, the game really needs some work in balancing. Some builds are extremely powerful, where others are extremely weak. I can show you quickly one skill that is not so bad, but it's not as good as the one I'm using. And that would be Laceration. So you can see now my number 2, it's doing some damage. It's not great, but it's doing some millions of damage. And I can get this to do up to 40 million damage. But I can get my other skill to do up to 100 million damage based on items and whether I'm sacrificing HP or not, and builds. So this jumpy skill, I can get it to do 100 million. This Laceration one, I can get up to 40. So the difference is huge. It's like more than half, less than half of what the other skill does. You can see now when I'm doing 18, 12, 17 million with Laceration. Let me quickly just max out my damage. Okay, now let's do Laceration. 20 million. Now, if I were to max out the other one, now let's see. 67 million. You can see I'm doing more than 3 times the damage of the other skill. So that's just an example of how badly balanced certain things are. Of course, this skill would be better with a different set that gives it more damage, because it's a fire set and it gives bonuses to fire skills. So as I said, I can squeeze up to 40 million if I were with the different set and if I were using different skills. It's not weak per se, 40 million is still a nice number of damage, but compared to the jumpy skill, definitely weak. And every hero has something like that, a skill or 2 that are super strong, and then the rest really feeling like they're not worth playing unless you're playing the lower difficulty, where the skill feels strong enough. So the lack of build variety as a result of this is serious, and people just get bored. Also, lack of end game to do. Right now you have invasions, you have relic hunts, and you have boss rushes. And boss rushes, I don't know, they feel boring to me. Some people love doing them, I don't. I don't love doing boss rushes. They feel too difficult for basically almost no rewards. They're changing and reworking the relic hunts, which is nice, because relic hunts are kind of like the rifting. And the invasions, I think they need to rework. I haven't heard anything regarding them reworking those, but I really hope they are considering it, because they definitely need something to change. They need more rewards and they need more randomness in the invasions. Wow, that's gonna be difficult. Such a hard boss to do. The worst thing about this boss is enemies' cooldowns are reduced, and also I take more damage the higher my energy. This guy's barely taking damage right now. Okay, with a little bit of kiting and dodging, the boss is finally killed. It's one of the toughest bosses in the game you can get, due to all the damage it can dish out. If you're playing a more of a glass cannonish setup like I am right now. And by the way, I need to change something here. Something like that. So this is like Paragon levels. What you saw me doing is Paragon, the equivalent of Paragon levels. And since there's a limit of how much you can invest in certain skills, there's a kind of a cap. There is no cap to how many of those you can get, those legend ranks, but there is a limit of how much you can invest. So each of those 6 skills is limited to 100 power and 100 chance. This is glitched and you can get more than 100 power. But all of those else are 200 points you can invest into. So let's say at 1200 legend rank you've reached the limit, and I think this will get fixed soon and you won't be able to invest more than 100 power, so don't get used to using it. In fact, you saw me using this earlier and I couldn't get the explosions to work. On 2 characters, on this character and on Kiwa. So let's do another invasion quickly.
Nothing can stop you.
This one is a puzzle. It's right, up, up, down, up. That's the solution of this puzzle. So I did right, now it's up. Now it's again up. Now it's down.
Nothing can stop you.
And now it's up. You learn it, it's always the same solution. So let's do this one. So here I've got a lot of wood quality, even though it's Chaos 2, wood quality is pretty high because rank 46 invasion. So every rank gives you 100 wood quality. So now with rank 46 that means I'm getting 4600 LQ compared to just 900 from the relic hunts. So this is where you farm items. If you really wanna farm items easy, getting those ranks up is totally worth it. You can get better wood quality right now in other places. Of course it's pretty boring because it's super easy right now. But this goes up to Chaos 6. It can't go up to Chaos 9 or Chaos 10. So they need to rework this to be able to change the difficulty past the minimum. So being able to have a minimum is nice. So let's say this node is Chaos 2. Keep it minimum Chaos 2, not being able to do it in a difficulty lower than Chaos 2, but being able to do it on a higher difficulty would be amazing. So that I would have some sort of a challenge doing it. So in those maps it's much easier to get items once you push high enough. But it's so boring pushing that high, because first you start at invasion rank 10. Once you finish 10 you unlock rank 19. Once you finish 19 you unlock 28, then 37, then 46, then 55, going up by 9 every time. And that means you have to complete roughly, it's 100 nodes, but not all nodes are fights. Some are unlocks. So you roughly are completing close to 80 nodes or 70 nodes. I can count it in the town just to tell you how many maps you need to do for every 9 next ranks to get unlocked. So it's 100 minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. So basically you have 30 nodes that are not combat and 70 nodes that are combat. So that means 70 maps. You complete 70 maps to get it to 100% completion. Actually it's probably not 70 but 68, because I forgot to count this one and this one. So I've reached close to 70 maps. It feels boring having to do those and then redo them again and then redo them again, and they're always the same. The only difference is it's slightly more difficult, more HP, more damage and so on, but in general it's still the same shit. Okay, one more thing I'm looking for is to upgrade this one. Counterattack, counterattack, counterattack. Okay, this is gonna go for damage. But let me see more in the chat. We do need stuff that's new and different, but it's super hard for developers to come up with something that hasn't been done already. Almost everything we can think of has been done in the genre. Because there's been so many games with years and years of development, like Grim Dawn and Path of Exile, that have been pushing the envelope in regards to what type of content a game could have. Be it the Nemesis enemies and system in Grim Dawn, be it every new leak in Path of Exile that keeps adding some weird and new mechanics. It could be the rifting system that so many games have nowadays. It could be the survival defense mode that a lot of games have nowadays. There's many things that we have that have been done already. So if you can think of something new, feel free to keep sending feedback to game developers in the games, so they can add this new thing. I've thought of many things, but all of those things are in a way inspired by what I've seen in other games. Maybe if I spent a month every day thinking a few hours a day regarding making a new system, something that has never been done, maybe I can come up with it, but it's not my job to do it. I'm not a developer. I'm not a game designer or whatever it's called, the one that comes up with those ideas. But yeah, there's a lot of things that can be done that other games already have, so this game can at least start to copy and modify some of the things that have been done in other games, and just modifying it to fit this game and be their own take on it. The same way they are doing now with the Tower of Chaos. The Tower of Chaos is a good addition. It's a good addition, and it feels like they did it well. They didn't make it too complicated. So it's gonna be something that everyone, even a new player that has never seen such a system, can just immediately start doing it without much trouble. I'm hoping there's gonna be checkpoints where we can start, and I'm hoping that I don't have to do the easy levels every time. So let's say at stage 30, 60, 90, etc. there's checkpoints. I'm not sure how many levels the tower would have, but I would really much like to see a limit. I don't like not having limits and being completely endless when it comes to those things, to those arena survival modes. Grim Dawn has done it amazingly well, where you have checkpoints and you can just start from the later levels. So you can skip the easy stuff if you don't want to do it. But yeah, this game compared to a year ago when it launched, it's much better now. Not that much, but still there has been a lot of changes. Every hero now has 4 sets instead of 3 sets. There has been a little bit of balancing, but not enough. We have a new hero, we have 2 new chapters in the story, which brings 2 new bosses, big bosses that you can do, and 2 new biomes and acts that you can roll maps from. They're gonna be reworking this system. The relic hunt system is getting a complete rework from what I've heard from the developers on Twitter. So we just have to wait and see what the next patch would bring and how different the relic hunts would be and how the Tower of Chaos would feel. But the game has been out for almost a year. It can't compare to games that have been out for 5, 6, 7 years or so, like Path of Exile and Grim Dawn, in terms of how much content and endgame variety there is in those games. Even Titan Quest right now I think has more endgame content compared to this game. And the biggest thing I like about games like Titan Quest, Grim Dawn, is that you can return to the story zones and kill some enemies there from those story zones. Especially Grim Dawn. Grim Dawn did it amazingly well, so that you have to kill nemesis enemies. So even if you're maxed out, you can go to a certain zone from the story and have a challenge there of enemies within that would be difficult to you. That won't be just you one-shotting everything, and you have nemesis enemies that can just one-shot you if you don't have a good build. Right now, the game I would recommend the most in the genre is Grim Dawn. To someone who hasn't played much of it, like me, I kind of feel bored. I've played it so much that I'm kind of burned out on Grim Dawn, but that's the game I would suggest. It has nemesis enemies. It has bosses in different dungeons that you can do. So you have dungeons that are roguelike, roguelite, where if you die you can no longer return to the dungeon and the dungeon is over, and then you need to get a new key so you can go into it. So it has those dungeons, then it has a rifting system, then it has a survival mode system, and it also has just open zones where you can farm different types of reputation and whatnot, and unlock different things like devotion points and so on. There's a lot of stuff to do. There's those bosses that are world bosses that are not nemesis but rather some specific ones, like the Ravager or the Modgrogan's avatar. To those who have played the games, they probably know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna do another invasion now. Kind of trying to get some upgrades on my items. It's almost midnight, so I probably have like half an hour more maximum of streaming. It's Friday night, right? Is it Friday? I think it's Friday. Yeah, it's Friday. So I can stay for another like half an hour, and if you wanna see me play a different hero, different class, now is your chance to tell me and I can change starting the next map. Today I started with the mage. I moved on to the engineer, and now I'm on the slayer. Last time I streamed this game I only streamed the elven wood, the wood elf scout, because I was experimenting a lot with her. Today there were some people on my YouTube channel that showed some interest in one of my older mage builds, the one that is kind of teleporting all over the place a lot. So that's why when I started streaming I started playing that build and showing how the rework of that build is now with the current version of the game. Because they were looking at the build that was like half a year old, maybe more. So I'm gonna rework it, I'm gonna do an updated version. I do have a version from December, the Riftwalker build or whatever it was called. There isn't much change from then compared to now for that specific mage build, but it's still kind of different a little bit. Especially legendary healing is amazing for builds that use majorly energy cost skill. Is there a chest here? Nope. Unlucky, no green item here. And do I want to do this exploding enemies? Exploding enemies I normally don't do it, not because it's difficult, because it's very badly optimized. It drains my FPS. See what I mean? Every time an enemy dies, it explodes. And when there's a lot of enemies dying at the same time, this explosion becomes a little bit too heavy. Because they didn't optimize it. I'm not sure whether they're using 4K resolution explosions or whatever. I think the explosions are eating up a lot of the memory or whatever it is. I'm not technical about all this. I don't understand what's happening, but I just see the results of it. Look at that. If I were to show you my FPS, it's probably going down from virtual synced at 60, it's going down to 20 maybe. They really need to either get rid of this modifier and fix it, and then return it into the game when it's fixed, or just to replace the explosion animation with something that that won't result in this FPS drop that we see right now. I'm pretty sure that even a person with 2080 titanium, if it exists, with the 2080, I'm pretty sure someone with the best PC you can build would still have some sort of FPS drops with this, with those explosions. They're just badly optimized. So let's say someone with the best video card and a super strong processor and a lot of RAM would still have problems with this. That's how I think it is. Okay. Two greens this map. A nice pendant of taunting with cooldown reduction and crit chance and HP. Even armor. Pretty solid pendant of taunting, and the Grimnir's armor with the new amount of counterattack and health regeneration and HP, so two amazingly nice drops. What about the Victor's Tribute that I got? Crit chance, damage, armor piercing, health drain. What's missing? HP. HP is missing instead of damage over time. But look at the counterattack damage, 2000. 2300. That means I can get 4000, close to 4800 counterattack damage from 2 axes. That's so much. That is so much counterattack damage. And as I said, 400 counterattack damage is 10 crit damage. So 2400 is 60 crit damage, I think. So that's like 60 crit damage down there at the bottom.
Nothing can stop you.
That means you can get 120 crit damage from those axes, and on top of that the axe can also roll with crit damage itself. Not sure how much, but let's see. I think it goes up to 60, 63, so maybe up to 70. So that means you can get almost, let's say 120 and another 120 and another 140, 380 crit damage roughly. Let's say 350, because it's gonna be hard to max out everything. So up to 350 crit damage if it has a high number of counterattack and a high number of crit damage on the axe. And that's just from the axes. Wait, never mind, I got it wrong. It's 120 plus 140, so up to 260. I counted 2 axes twice rather than 1 axe twice. Still a lot of crit damage you can grab. And there's the thing about this class, you need to balance out flat damage and crit damage. If you go all in on the crit damage, you're not gonna do as much. If you go all in on the flat damage, you're also not gonna do as much. This is the beauty of it. Someone can prefer playing with more of one or with more of the other. Right now my crit chance is pretty bad. Not that bad, but it's 47. I like to keep that between 45 and 50 minimum. Minimum 45. Cooldown reduction, I like to have that as high as I can. And I think you can get it to 60 if you max out everything. 60, 60 something. You can get a lot of cooldown reduction from the passives, but that means sacrificing damage and crit damage. right now my passives here give me 15% cooldown reduction. And ideally I wouldn't have 15% in the passives. I would actually ideally sacrifice 5 and 5 to get 10% flat and 20% counterattack damage, and that's gonna be what I would want to do. So let's say I sacrifice 10 and then I sacrifice another 10. That's why you need a lot of cooldown reduction if you wanna be using those passive nodes there. Those passive nodes there could increase my damage by like 15-20% total of what it is right now if I get those two nodes, but 10% extra cooldown reduction decrease is a lot, and it's gonna hurt me right now. Mostly because this doesn't give me cooldown reduction, and this doesn't give me cooldown reduction. So there's things that I can get some more cooldown reduction, so I can afford taking those nodes. Let's say I get those two things, the ring and amulet, to give me at least 5% cooldown reduction. That means I'm gonna be able to afford grabbing that extra damage from the passives. And that's what's gonna pull my damage to above 100 million. I wanna do this one, but first let's check this one. Just a quick compare. Well, it's definitely double the counter attack. It's more HP, it's a little less health regen and more armor. Overall, I think it's worth the change. So that was my old one, right? Yeah. Bit by bit getting those upgrades. I really think this game needs a rerolling system like Diablo 3, and Diablo 3 style rerolling system. That's what this game really needs right now. It would help so much when squeezing the most out of your gear. Alright. Going for some more damage now. Come on, and boom. And boom. And boom. Oh, someone spawned behind me. Oh wait, it spawned up there. This way of playing the build is actually much stronger when the enemies don't get one shot, because if I hit the enemies once, I stun them, and if I stun an enemy, I make it bleed. And if I have up to 10 bleeding enemies around me, that's so much more damage for me. But the problem is when I'm one-shotting the little guys, it just doesn't work that great. So on Chaos 10 you're gonna see much more damage with this build when you're not one-shotting every single enemy on the first hit, and just the second hit would be so much stronger to the boss around those weak guys that you don't one-shot. Ooh, almost got burned out there. And I stun enemies with every hit because of my Ring of Resonance, which makes cooldown skills do a stunning this thing that, wow, you know, this white shockwave when I land. But yeah, I tested Wosen yesterday after the last update, and apparently summons they were fixing some passive skills of the summons, but they weren't that much stronger. The passives give you 45% summon damage that they fixed, but that 45 summon damage didn't really add much damage to my summons when I was testing how much stronger they are yesterday. So Parasite right now in Wosen, Parasite is the one summoner skill that I would suggest for damage. The others won't do that much damage. The others would do probably 1/4 or 1/3 at best of the damage a not so strong Parasite can do. And Parasite can be much stronger than what I got on it. I was not using champions, so I could get Parasite on a regular Spectre, the guys with the sight, to do 50,000. 50,000 is not much in endgame Wosen, but it's still okay. It's still better than nothing. And if you take a champion, that probably can go up to 300,000 if you take a very strong champion. Probably. I didn't test that far enough. Alright, I'm gonna do one last map and probably that's gonna be it. Let's go back on the mage actually and maybe do 2 more maps. Again on the speedy build. The teleporty speedy build. So this is the build someone showed an interest in today, but they were looking at a very old build video from either the summer or the autumn of last year. So I don't suggest playing Chaos 9. Chaos 8 is okay for this build. It's mostly good for farming invasions. That's where it's super strong. But if you want to take it to relic hunts, don't go over Chaos 8 is my suggestion. Because this build is all about speed, all about speed running stuff. It's not gonna do that much damage, even though it really does, and I'm using damage over time items. Not just damage and HP, but also damage over time and HP items. So you can see I'm teleporting and then I'm leaving a sigil on the ground that does damage over time to anyone. And if I teleport in one place, that's a lot of CGUs in one place. So you do that on an enemy. And then they... oh! And then they die. You can just hit and run. I like to call it hit and run. Hit and now run and look at it dying. And you need to weave in some melee attacks for energy regeneration in between. So it's perfect for certain map mods on Chaos 8. You can also do Chaos 9 with it, but it's just you're gonna get killed more often in Chaos 9 with this build, because it's a bit more on the squishy side. If you're not killing every single elite on the way like I do, it's gonna be very fast to speedrun maps. Okay, now I don't have all my skills ready and I don't have energy before the boss fight, so that's gonna be slower boss fight than normal. Okay, hit and run. There we go. Oops, elite. So it's a fun little build. These are the skills I ended up using in the end. And I'm gonna make a build video for this in the next days, probably next week. Let's take the weekend off of build making, and maybe next week I can make a build video for this. As a rework of my Rift Walker from December, let's say, which was a rework of a previous build and so on. I think so far I've either made 3 videos or 2 videos of that thing. I think I've made 2 and this would be the 3rd version. So let's try Chaos 9. Just so you can see what I mean, why I don't want this in Chaos 9. Not armor reduced, not crit chance reduced. Skill cooldowns are increased, is not that bad. Honestly, I'm probably gonna die 1 or 2 times, maybe more, because it's Act 3 and Act 3 enemies are painful. She almost died there. They do a lot of damage, that's what I mean by those being painful. When it comes from out of nowhere, they're like charging you from away of from out of the screen, where you don't even see them. Okay, the healer is almost killed. Okay, healer down. Healer down. So my cooldowns are increased on this map. Okay, let's clear out the trash first. Okay, there's a healer somewhere. There we go, he's down. Now I can focus on the big boy.
Knowledge is power.
Regenerate some energy. So it works in Chaos 9 as well if you're careful and if it's not bad map mods, but the time it would take you just beats the purpose of the build. This build is for speedrunning easy stuff rather than doing the other. But you can see Chaos 9 I can do it with decent gear, and I'd like to believe I'm wearing decent gear right now. I mean, everything's green except the Phoenix Herald, because I couldn't get a good road Phoenix Herald green. All Phoenix Heralds I've gotten green were very badly rolled. It's not the best gear, it could be better, but in general, let's say 80-85% min-maxed. Let's get some energy. I'm pretty sure many people would love this this setup for farming invasions, especially. That's, as I said earlier at the start of the stream when I was playing this. This is where this shines, in invasions. Because when you're pushing the invasion ranks and when you're doing those very easy nodes like Chaos 1, 2, 3, 4, or even under Chaos nodes like the very beginning, this is the best build you can use on the mage, because you're just the things are dying as you're moving, as you're teleporting, because you do, those whitenings do damage, the fire around you does damage, and that's more than enough to kill the easy enemies in the easy invasion stuff at the start. Oh, there's healer. Actually, I think there were two maybe. So he's healing, and now I'm out of energy, but he died before the big guy arrived, which was perfect timing. Yeah, I gotta kill the healer first. And there's more than one, so I'll focus. One healer down, two healers down, and there should be this one here as well is a healer. Fuck. I ended up not having energy to teleport away, and then by the time I got the energy I was dead. As I said, it's painful on this map. It definitely, they all do a lot of damage, and they charge you from where you don't even see them coming. One thing I've added, which I wasn't using before in this build, is legendary healing. So basically every time you teleport, you have 50% chance to heal for 10% of your HP. Now when it's just the boss, it shouldn't be difficult to do it, because we can just burst him. There we go. But again, as I said, not that great to use this on Chaos 9 like I'm showing you right now. Stick to Chaos 8 for that setup, maybe even do easier stuff, and especially for invasions it's amazing. Now that Chaos 6 is still the maximum in invasions, but Chaos 6 is not strong as Chaos 6 used to be. When Chaos 8 was the limit, Chaos 6 was still pretty strong. Now that Chaos 10 is the limit, Chaos 6 is much easier to do. That means invasions are much easier to do. Wow, there's a lot of healers here. This guy just keeps getting back to full HP. And you saw I died like what, 4 times, or was it 3 times? More than enough to make it not worth going on Chaos 9 with this build. So, god skill wise, this is what I've got. All the way to discrete damage, all the way to discrete damage. And then we spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points for this one, because this one is the only one that follows us around. And it can just keep doing damage as we move around the map. If you don't want to use Arcane Manifestation, then you can save 1, 2, 3, 4 points, 5 points, and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there's those 3 points here for 10% flat damage. Pretty decent. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would unlock Arcane Secrets Mastered, which you might want to implement. Or you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's gonna give you the same stuff, but you're not using counter spell mastered, so better just the other way if you want to get rid of those points. Another option would be to get this 10% damage, but you're losing damage over time, and the way I play the build is I play it with damage over time. Still not bad, but that's gonna be it for tonight. It's 28 past midnight here. So more tomorrow, not sure what game. I'm so kind of bored of all the games I've got available to play, but keep it cool, thanks for watching, and until next time, goodbye.